Imagine you're walking through the foggy streets of Victorian London, the gas lamps casting eerie shadows on the cobblestones. You hear the distant clip-clop of a horse-drawn carriage, and suddenly, a cryptic note slips into your pocket from an unseen hand. Reads, "The Valley of Fear hides a secret society, and only the sharpest mind can unravel its mystery." Your heart races. Could you solve a puzzle as intricate as Sherlock Holmes himself? This is the world we're diving into today. A thrilling tale of deduction, danger, deception in Sherlock Holmes and the secret society in the Valley of Fear. Whether you're a lifelong fan of the great detective or new to his adventures, this video will pull you into a story that's as gripping as it is clever. So, grab your magnifying glass, hit that subscribe button, and let's step into the mind of Sherlock Holmes as we uncover the secrets of the Valley of Fear. Sherlock Holmes is sitting in his Baker Street flat, pipe in hand, when a peculiar letter arrives. It's not just any letter, it's a coded message, a cipher that hints at a shadowy secret society operating in the remote Valley of Fear. This is where our story begins. And it's the perfect moment to introduce you to the genius of Holmes and his trusty companion, Dr. John Watson. In this first chapter, we're going to dive into the art of deduction, explore how Holmes tackles cryptic puzzles, and set the stage for the chilling mystery that awaits. If you're ready to feel like a detective yourself, keep watching because this is where the adventure kicks off. Let's start with the basics. Sherlock Holmes, created by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, is the world's greatest consulting detective. His ability to notice tiny details, like a speck of mud on a shoe or a faint scratch on a watch, lets him piece together clues that others miss. In the Valley of Fear, Holmes receives a letter from a man named Porlock, a reluctant informant tied to a dangerous secret society. The letter contains a cipher, a jumble of numbers that seems meaningless at first glance. But for Holmes, it's a treasure map to the truth. Why does this matter? Because this cipher is our first clue to unraveling a mystery that spans from London to a remote American valley. It's not just about cracking a code, it's about understanding the stakes of a hidden world of power and betrayal. So how does Holmes approach a cipher? Let's break it down. First, he examines the letter's context. Porlock, the sender, is clearly scared, hinting that the secret society is watching his every move. Holmes doesn't just see numbers. He sees fear, urgency, and a cry for help. He starts by looking for patterns. Maybe the numbers correspond to letters in a book or a specific code system. For example, a code like the 25th of March 14 might refer to the 14th page, third line, and 25th word in a particular text. Holmes cross-references the numbers with a common book, like an almanac, and slowly the message emerges, a warning about a man named John Douglas in danger. This isn't just brainy detective work. It's a race against time to save a life. Let me give you a practical tip here. You can try your own detective skills. Grab a simple code, like a sequence of numbers from 1 to 26, where each number stands for a letter A equals 1, B equals 2, and so on. Write a short message, like "Meet me," and turn it into numbers 135, 520, 135. Share it with a friend and see if they can crack it without the key. It's a fun way to feel like Holmes and understand how his mind works. The key is patience and looking for patterns just like he does. What makes this chapter so exciting is how it pulls us into Holmes' world. The cipher isn't just a puzzle, it's a gateway to a larger conspiracy. As Holmes decodes the message, he learns about a man named John Douglas, living in a manor called Burlstone, who's tangled up with a secret society called the Scourers. This group, rooted in a lawless American valley, is ruthless, and their reach extends across the ocean. The stakes are high. Douglas is marked for death, and Holmes is the only one who can stop it. Watson, ever the loyal friend, is right by his side, scribbling notes and grounding Holmes' wild intellect with his practical sense. Together, they're the perfect team to face this looming threat. As we wrap up this first chapter, think about this. The cipher is just the beginning. It's like the first piece of a jigsaw puzzle, hinting at a much bigger picture. Holmes has cracked the code, but now he's got to act on it. What's waiting in the Valley of Fear? Who are the Scours, and why do they want John Douglas dead? We're about to head to Burlstone Manor, where the mystery deepens and the danger gets real. Stay tuned for Chapter 2, where we'll explore the eerie setting of Burlstone and meet the man at the heart of this deadly game. If you're loving this journey into Sherlock's world, hit that like button and let me know in the comments what's your favorite Holmes story so far. Let's keep deducing together. The fog of London fades as Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson board a train bound for the quiet countryside, their minds fixed on the cryptic warning about John Douglas. Burlstone Manor, a secluded estate surrounded by a moat and ancient oaks, awaits them, a place that feels more like a fortress than a home. The coded message from Porlock has led them here, to a man marked by a secret society's deadly intent. In this chapter, we're diving into the eerie world of Burlstone, where every creak of the floorboards and every shadow in the hall hides a clue. The mystery is thickening, and the stakes are higher than ever. Let's step into this chilling setting and uncover what secrets the manor holds. Holmes and Watson arrive at Burlstone under a gray sky, the air heavy with the promise of rain. The manor itself is a character in this story. Its drawbridge, high stone walls, and narrow windows give it a medieval menace. John Douglas, the man they've come to warn, is an American with a murky past, now living as a wealthy gentleman with his wife Ivy. But something's off. The locals whisper about strange visitors in the night, and the servants seem nervous, their eyes darting to the dark corners of the house. Holmes, with his sharp gaze, notices everything. A scuff on the doorstep, a misplaced candlestick, a faint. The smell of tobacco that doesn't match Douglas's brand. These are the breadcrumbs of truth, and Holmes is already piecing them together. As they meet John Douglas, he seems cheerful, almost too cheerful, brushing off the warning about the Scours, as if it's a bad joke. He's a tall man with a booming laugh, but there's a flicker of fear in his eyes when the secret society is mentioned. His wife Ivy is charming but tense, her hands twisting her handkerchief as she speaks. Watson, ever the observer, notes how the couple's warmth feels forced, like actors playing a part. Holmes doesn't push yet. Instead, he wanders the manor, studying its layout. The moat, he observes, makes it hard for anyone to sneak in or out unnoticed. So how does a secret society plan to strike? The answer lies in the details, and Holmes is hunting them like a bloodhound. Let's talk about how Holmes works a scene. Like this, he's not just looking, he's seeing. For example, he spots a burn mark on a windowsill, too precise to be accidental. It's a signal maybe left by someone watching the house. He also notices a missing dumbbell from a pair in Douglas' study, a small oddity that most would ignore. To Holmes, it's a clue that something or someone is out of place. You can try this kind of observation yourself. Next time you're in a new place, pick 3 small details, maybe a worn spot on a rug, a book left open, or a cup left on a table. Ask yourself, what story do these tell? It's a simple way to channel Holmes' mindset and make the world around you a puzzle to solve. The tension at Burlstone builds as Holmes and Watson learn more about the Scours. This secret society, born in the lawless coal mines of America's Vermissa Valley, is no ordinary gang. They're organized, ruthless, and bound by a code of silence that makes them nearly untouchable. Pete Douglas, it turns out, has a history with them one he's not eager to share. The manor feels like a pressure cooker, with danger closing in. Holmes, calm as ever, sketches a plan to watch the house at night, suspecting the Scours might make their move soon. Watson, loyal but nervous, grips his revolver, ready for whatever comes. The stage is set for a showdown, but the real question is, what's Douglas hiding and why is he so calm in the face of death? As this chapter closes, the manor's walls seem to whisper secrets of their own. Holmes has gathered his clues, but the puzzle is far from solved. The Scours are out there plotting, and Burlstone is no safe haven. What's the connection between Douglas and this deadly society? Is he a victim, or is there more to his story? We're heading deeper into the mystery in Chapter 3, where a shocking event will turn everything upside down. If you're hooked on this tale of suspense, smash that like button and drop a comment. What do you think John Douglas is hiding? Subscribe to join us as we unravel the next twist in Sherlock Holmes' greatest case. The night at Burlstone Manor is thick with silence, broken only by the occasional hoot of an owl and the creak of old timbers. Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson are on high alert, patrolling the shadowy halls, their senses tuned to every sound. The warning from Porlock's cipher looms large. John Douglas is in danger. Hunted by the Scours, a secret society with a long reach and a deadly grudge. But as midnight strikes, a blood-curdling scream echoes through the manor, and the mystery takes a dark turn. In this chapter, we're plunging into a shocking crime that flips the case on its head, testing Holmes' genius like never before. Get ready, the Valley of Fear is about to reveal its first victim. Holmes and Watson rush toward the sound, their footsteps pounding on the oak floors. They find the manor's study in chaos, papers scattered, a chair overturned, and John Douglas. Lying lifeless on the floor, a brutal wound marking his end. The scene is grim, but Holmes' eyes are already scanning, taking in every detail. A sawed-off shotgun lies near the body, its barrel still warm. Strange marca, branded symbol of a circle with a triangle inside, sits on Douglas's forearm, exposed where his sleeve has torn. Ivy Douglas, his wife, collapses in tears, while the household staff huddle in fear. Watson checks for a pulse, but it's no use. The man they came to save is gone. Or is he? Holmes doesn't mourn, he observes. The window is shattered, glass, glittering on the floor, suggesting someone forced their way in. But the moat outside is undisturbed, its surface smooth as glass. How did the killer get in and out? Holmes kneels by the body, noting the angle of the wound and the powder burns on Douglas' shirt. The shotgun blast was close range, almost too precise. He also spots a single muddy boot print near the window, but it's oddly small, like it belongs to a child. These clues don't add up, and that's exactly what fuels Holmes' curiosity. To him, a crime scene is a story. This one is telling a tale full of contradictions. Let's try a detective trick you can use at home. Next time you're in a busy place, like a cafe or park, pick one person and notice 3 specific things. About them, their shoes, their posture, or maybe an item they're holding. Then, imagine what those details say about their day. Are their shoes scuffed from a long walk? Is their posture tense, like they're worried? It's a simple exercise to sharpen your observation skills, just like Holmes does here. Not just seeing a crime scene, he's reading the hidden story behind it. It's leading him to question everything. The local police, led by Inspector MacDonald, arrive and quickly pin the murder on an outsider, likely a scourer who slipped, and to settle an old score. But Holmes isn't convinced. The branded mark on Douglas's arm ties him to the secret society. But why would they kill him so openly? And why is Ivy Douglas's grief so theatrical, her tears drying a little too quickly? Watson, ever the heart to Holmes' head, feels for her, but Holmes' mind is elsewhere. He paces the study, muttering about the missing dumbbell from Chapter 2 and the peculiar boot print. He's starting to suspect this isn't a simple assassination, it's a performance, staged for reasons he hasn't yet uncovered. The tension in Burlstone Manor is palpable now. The Scour's shadow looms larger, but the murder raises more questions than answers. Was Douglas really the target? Or is this part of a bigger plan? Holmes decides to dig deeper, questioning the staff and examining the grounds. He finds a hidden panel in the study wall, just big enough for a man to slip through. It's a clue that the manor itself is hiding secrets, maybe even protecting them. Watson, scribbling in his notebook, can barely keep up with Holmes' racing thoughts. The game is afoot, and the truth is closer than it seems, but it's buried in a web of lies. As this chapter draws to a close, the murder has changed everything. Holmes is no longer just preventing a crime, he's solving one. It's the branded mark, the shattered window, and the missing dumbbell are pieces of a puzzle that don't yet fit. What's the real story behind John Douglas's death? Is the secret society one step ahead? Or is there a twist even Holmes hasn't seen coming? In Chapter 4, we'll follow Holmes as he peels back the layers of deception, uncovering a truth that shakes Burlstone to its core. If you're gripped by this mystery, hit that like button and tell me in the comments what's your theory about the murder. Subscribe to keep unraveling the secrets of the Valley of Fear with us. The air in Burlstone Manor feels heavier now, as if the walls themselves are holding their breath after John Douglas's brutal murder. Sherlock Holmes stands in the study, his sharp eyes darting from the hidden panel in the wall to the muddy boot print by the shattered window. The local police are convinced the Scourers, that deadly secret society from the Vermissa Valley, are behind the killing, but Holmes sees a deeper game at play. In this chapter, we're diving into the heart of deception, where nothing is as it seems, and Holmes begins to unravel a truth that could turn the entire case upside down. The Valley of Fear is tightening its grip, so let's follow the clues and see where they lead. Holmes starts with the hidden panel he found in the study. It's cleverly disguised, blending into the woodwork, but a slight scratch on the floor betrays its use. He pries it open, revealing a narrow passage just wide enough for a man to slip through. This isn't just a secret door, it's a lifeline, a way to move unseen within the manor's walls. Watson, peering over Holmes' shoulder, wonders if Douglas used it to escape an attacker, but Holmes shakes his head. The panel hasn't been opened recently. The dust inside is undisturbed. Instead, Holmes turns his attention to the strange clues from the crime scene: the branded mark on Douglas's arm, the missing dumbbell, and that oddly small boot print. These aren't random. They're threads in a carefully woven lie. Let's pause and think like Holmes for a moment. He's building a theory that the murder scene was staged, but why? The branded mark, a circle with a triangle, ties Douglas to the Scourers, but it's too prominent, almost meant to be seen. The shotgun blast was close range, yet the window was smashed from the inside, not the outside. And that missing dumbbell? Holmes suspects it was used to weight something down, maybe. Evidence sunk in the moat. To test your own deduction skills, try this. Look around your room and pick an object that seems out of place, like a book on the floor or a pen in a strange spot. Ask yourself, what could it mean? Who moved it, and why? It's a simple way to practice seeing the world through Holmes' eyes, where every detail tells a story. Holmes questions Ivy Douglas and the manor's butler, Cecil Barker, who is Douglas's close friend. Ivy's grief seems genuine, but her answers are vague, and she avoids mentioning Douglas's past in America. Barker, a gruff man with a quick temper, insists he heard the shotgun blast and found Douglas dead. But Holmes notices Barker's boots clean. No trace of the mud from the boot print in the study. Something doesn't add up. Holmes also learns from a maid that Douglas was secretive, often locking himself in the study late at night, writing letters he never sent. These letters, Holmes suspects, might hold the key to his connection with the Scourers. The deeper Holmes digs, the more he senses a charade. He examines the moat outside, using a lantern to scan its murky depths. There, half submerged, he spots a bundle tied with rope, weighted down by the missing dumbbell. Inside the bundle is a suit of clothes, blood-stained and torn, but no body. This discovery flips the case on its head. Was the body in the study really John Douglas? Or was it someone else? Holmes keeps this find to himself, not even telling Watson yet. He's starting to suspect that Douglas might not be dead at all, that the murder was a ruse to throw the Scourers off his trail. But if Douglas is alive, where is he hiding, and why stage such an elaborate deception? As the night wears on, Holmes and Watson sit by the manor's fireplace, the crackling logs casting shadows on the walls. Watson is puzzled, but Holmes is energized, his mind racing through possibilities. The Scourers are still out there, and if Douglas is alive, they'll come for him again. Holmes decides to set a trap, using the manor's own secrets against the secret society. He instructs Watson to keep watch at the drawbridge, while he searches the hidden passage for more clues. The game is getting dangerous, and Holmes is playing for keeps. As this chapter ends, the mystery of Burlstone Manor is more tangled than ever. The hidden panel, the weighted bundle, and the staged murder point to a desperate plan, one that John Douglas, or someone close to him, orchestrated. But who's pulling the strings, and can Holmes outsmart the Scourers before they strike again? In Chapter 5, we'll journey across the ocean to the Vermissa Valley, where the origins of this deadly society come to light. If you're caught up in this web of intrigue, hit that like button and share your thoughts in the comments. What do you think Douglas is hiding? Subscribe to keep unraveling the secrets of the Valley of Fear with us. The mystery at Burlstone Manor has left Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson chasing shadows, with a staged murder and a secret passage pointing to a deeper conspiracy. Now the trail leads across the Atlantic to the rugged, lawless Vermissa Valley. In America, where the Scours, a secret society of ruthless criminals, were born, this chapter takes us out of the misty English countryside and into a gritty world of coal mines, betrayal, and bloodshed. We're diving into the origins of the Scours and John Douglas' tangled past, covering why this deadly group wants him dead, why they think he's already gone. Let's step into the Valley of Fear and see what darkness lies at. Its heart, Vermissa Valley, years before the events at Burlstone, is a place where hope goes to die. It's a mining town in the American frontier, where soot-stained workers toil under the iron grip of corrupt bosses and violent gangs. The Scours, officially the ancient order of freemen, are no ordinary criminals. They're a secret society that rules the valley through fear, extorting businesses, rigging elections, and silencing anyone who dares speak out. Their symbol, a circle with a triangle inside, is a mark of terror, branded on their members as a lifelong oath. Holmes, piecing together Douglas' past, learns that this man wasn't just a bystander in Vermissa. He was deep in the Scours world, but how? John Douglas Muscles, a young Irishman who arrives in Vermissa Valley under a false name, becomes our window into this shadowy past. His real name, we learn, is Bertie Edwards, a man with secrets of his own. He's charming, bold, and quick-witted, but he's running from something or someone. In Vermissa, he infiltrates the Scours, posing as one of them to gather evidence for the Pinkerton Detective Agency. This is where you can sharpen your own detective skills. Imagine you're Bertie, living a double life. Notice small details. In your daily life, like a coworker's new watch or a neighbor's odd routine, what might those clues suggest about their secrets? It's a fun way to think like Holmes or Bertie. It's always watching for the hidden truth. Bertie's story in Vermissa is one of courage and cunning. He earns the Scours' trust, attending their secret meetings in smoky back rooms, all while feeding information to the Pinkertons. But the Scours are led by a brutal man named McGinty, whose enforcers, like the cold-blooded tiger Baldwin, will kill without hesitation. Bertie witnesses murders, beatings, and betrayals, all while playing. His part? He collects names, dates, and proof of their crimes. But the deeper he goes, the more dangerous it gets. The branded mark on his arm, the same one found on the body at Burlstone, binds him to the Scours, a constant reminder of the oath he took under false pretenses. His mission is to bring the society down, but one wrong move could cost him his life. Back in Burlstone, Holmes pieces this together through old letters and whispered stories from Douglas's past. He suspects Douglas and Bertie Edwards are the same man, and the staged murder was a desperate bid to escape the Scours' vengeance. The bundle in the moat, weighted by the missing dumbbell, held clothes meant to mimic Douglas's death, but Holmes knows the body in the study wasn't Douglas. Someone else took his place, perhaps a Scourer sent to kill him, caught in a trap of Douglas's own making. Holmes finds a coded note in the hidden passage, hinting that Douglas is alive, hiding somewhere close. The Scours, believing their target is dead, may have let their guard down, but for how long? Holmes shares his theory with Watson, who's stunned by the idea that Douglas could have outwitted a secret society. The manor's hidden passage suggests Douglas planned his escape carefully, but he's still in danger. The Scours have eyes everywhere, and Vermissa Valley's long shadow reaches even here. Holmes decides to search the nearby woods, suspecting Douglas might be lying low in a hunter's lodge or abandoned barn. Watson, revolver in hand, follows, his heart pounding as they move closer to the truth. The Vermissa Valley's history has painted a picture of a man on the run. The question remains, can Holmes find Douglas before the Scours realize their mistake? As this chapter closes, the stakes are higher than ever. Vermissa Valley has revealed John Douglas's secret. Life is Bertie Edwards, a man who dared to betray the Scours and lived to tell the tale, at least for now. Holmes is closing in, but the secret society's reach is long, and danger is never far behind. In Chapter 6, we'll follow Holmes and Watson as they hunt for the man who faked his own death, racing against time to outsmart a relentless enemy. If this dive into the Valley of Fear has you hooked, smash that like button and drop a comment. What do you think Douglas's next move is? Subscribe to keep unraveling this thrilling mystery with us. Burlstone Manor's secrets are unraveling, and Sherlock Holmes is hot on the trail of John Douglas, the man who may have faked his own death to escape the Scour's wrath. The hidden passage, the weighted bundle in the moat, and the coded note all point to a desperate plan, one that's kept Douglas alive, but only just. Now, as dawn breaks over the misty countryside, Holmes and Dr. Watson venture beyond the manor's walls, searching for the man who outwitted a deadly secret. Society. In this chapter, we're plunging into a tense hunt through the woods, where every rustle could be a clue or a killer. The Valley of Fear is closing in. So let's follow Holmes as he chases the truth. Holmes leads Watson into the dense forest surrounding Burlstone, his eyes scanning the ground for signs of Douglas's escape. The air is damp and the trees loom, like silent sentinels, hiding secrets in their shadows. Holmes notices a snapped twig here, a crushed leaf. There's small traces of someone moving quickly through the underbrush. He's certain Douglas is nearby, perhaps holed up in a forgotten shed or a poacher's hideout. Watson, gripping his revolver, feels the weight of the moment. The Scours, believing Douglas is dead, might not stay fooled for long. They discover the ruse, they'll come for him and anyone standing in their way. Let's channel Holmes' sharp senses for a second. You can practice this at home. Next time you're outside, pick a spot and look for 3 signs of recent activity. Maybe it's a footprint in the dirt, a bent blade of grass, or a discarded wrapper. What do they tell you about who was there? It's a simple way to hone your observation skills, just like Holmes does as he tracks Douglas. Here in the woods, he finds a faint trail leading to a small, ivy-covered cottage tucked deep in the forest. The door is ajar, and a faint smell of tobacco Douglas brand lingers in the air. They've found their man, or so it seems. Inside the cottage, Holmes and Watson discover signs of a hurried hideout, a half-eaten loaf of bread, crumpled blanket, and a scrap of paper with a single word scrawled on it. Vermissa. A chilling reminder of the secret society's reach, but Douglas isn't there. Holmes examines the scene, noting a smudge of blood on the doorframe, not enough for a serious wound, but enough to suggest a struggle or a hasty departure. He deduces Douglas was here recently, possibly spooked by a scour or scout. The question is, where did he go next? Holmes finds a hidden trapdoor under the cottage floor, leading to a damp cellar. It's empty, but a faint scratch in the dirt spells out London. Douglas is on the move again, heading back to the city. The hunt is far from over, and Holmes' mind is racing. He suspects Douglas is trying to vanish into London's crowded streets, where the Scour's eyes are less keen. But the secret society is relentless, and Holmes knows they'll soon realize the body in Burlstone wasn't Douglas. He shares his theory with Watson. The dead man in the study was likely a Scour assassin, killed in self-defense and dressed in Douglas clothes to fake his death. The branded mark on the body matched Douglas, because the assassin was also a Scour, sent to kill him. It's a brilliant plan, but it's unraveling fast. Holmes decides they must return to London to find Douglas before the Scours do. Back at Burlstone, Holmes briefs Inspector MacDonald, keeping some details like the cellar's clued himself. He urges the inspector to watch the manor for any Scour activity, suspecting they'll return to confirm Douglas's death. Ever loyal is both awed and anxious, scribbling notes as Holmes lays out the next steps. The trail to London is their best lead, but it's a needle in a haystack. Holmes, undaunted, sees the challenge as a puzzle to solve. He recalls Porlock's cipher from Chapter 1, wondering if the informant might know more about the Scours. Plans a telegram to London is sent, hoping to draw Porlock out, as this chapter draws to a close. The hunt for John Douglas has taken Holmes and Watson from the eerie calm of Burlstone to the edge of a new chase in London. The Scours are a looming threat, and Douglas's clever deception might not hold. Is he a step ahead, or is he walking into a trap? In Chapter 7, we'll follow Holmes into the bustling streets of London, where the final pieces of this deadly game start to fall into place. If you're gripped by this race against time, hit that like button and drop a comment. What do you think Douglas's next move will be? Subscribe to keep chasing the truth in the Valley of Fear with us. The trail of John Douglas, the man who faked his own death to escape the Scourers, has led Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson back to the bustling, foggy streets of London. The quiet menace of Burlstone Manor feels a world away, but the danger is closer than ever. It's the Scourers, that ruthless secret society from Vermissa Valley, may soon realize their target is alive. And London's crowded alleys offer both cover and peril for a man on the run. In this chapter, we're diving into the heart of the city, where Holmes' genius faces the chaos of a million lives. And every step could lead to Douglas or disaster. Let's chase the truth through the London labyrinth. Holmes and Watson return to their Baker Street flat. The familiar clutter of books and chemical vials a stark contrast to the wild woods of Burlstone. Holmes wastes no time, poring over maps of London and the coded note from the cottage that read London. He suspects Douglas is hiding among the city's underbelly, perhaps in a dockside tavern, or a cramped boarding house where questions aren't asked. Watson, still reeling from the cottage's clues, marvels at Holmes' focus. The detective's eyes gleam as he traces a mental map of Douglas' likely moves, knowing the Scourers' network runs deep, even here. A telegram from Porlock there. Reluctant informant is their best hope. But it hasn't arrived yet. Holmes starts by tapping his web of contacts: street urchins, cabbies, and barmaids who see everything. He sends the Baker Street irregulars, his band of young informants, to scour the city for a man matching Douglas's description: tall, broad-shouldered, with a faint American accent. To sharpen your own detective skills, try this. Next time you're in a crowded place, it's like a mall or a train station, pick 3 people and note one unique trait about each, maybe a limp, a distinctive hat, or a nervous glance. What's story do? Those details tell. It's a simple way to practice Holmes' art of seeing the extraordinary in the ordinary. Just as he's doing now to find Douglas, the irregulars return with a lead. A man resembling Douglas was spotted near the docks, slipping into a seedy pub called the Black Anchor. Holmes and Watson head there under cover of night, blending into the crowd of sailors and laborers. The pub is a haze of smoke and laughter, but Holmes' sharp gaze cuts through it. He notices a man in the corner, his face half hidden by a scarf. Nursing a drink, a dance posture tense, shoulders hunched, matches Douglas's wary demeanor. But before Holmes can approach, the man bolts, vanishing into the alley. A chase ensues, with Holmes dodging carts and barrels, Watson panting behind. They lose him in the maze of back streets. But Holmes finds a dropped matchbook with Vermissa, scrawled inside, a chilling sign the Scourers are close. Back at Baker Street, telegram from Porlock finally arrives, but it's cryptic. Bird flies at midnight. Watch the river. Holmes decodes it instantly. Douglas, the bird, a nod to his alias, Bertie Edwards, plans to flee by boat at midnight. The river means the Thames, London's watery spine, where countless ships come and go. Holmes suspects Douglas is trying to board a vessel to America or beyond, hoping to vanish for good. But the Scourers likely have spies at every dock. Holmes and Watson race to the riverfront, where the Thames glitters under gaslight. They spot a figure boarding a small steamer, but a burly man, possibly Tiger Baldwin. The Scourer and nearby, watching Holmes, decides to split up. Watson watches the steamer, while Holmes tails the suspicious man. It's a risky move, but Holmes trusts Watson's steady nerve. As Watson creeps closer to the boat, he sees the figure, likely Douglas, handing papers to a captain. The exchange is quick, but a sudden shout breaks the silence. The burly man lunges, and chaos erupts. Holmes reappears, tackling the attacker, who slips away into the night. The steamer's whistle blows, and Douglas is gone, the boat vanishing into the fog. Holmes curses under his breath. He was a step too slow. But he finds a torn ticket stub on the dock, marked for a ship to America. Douglas is still one move ahead. As this chapter ends, The London chase has left Holmes and Watson empty-handed, but the ticket stub is a new clue. Douglas is alive, but the Scourers are closing in, and his escape by sea might lead him straight into a trap. Can Holmes outsmart a secret society that's as cunning as he is? In Chapter 8, we'll follow the trail across the ocean where the Valley of Fear's secrets come to a head. If you're hooked on this high-stakes hunt, smash that like button and drop a comment. What do you think will happen to Douglas next? Subscribe to keep unraveling the mystery of the Valley of Fear. With us, the foggy Thames fades behind Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson as they stand on the dock, clutching a torn ticket stub that points to John Douglas's desperate escape. The man who faked his death to flee the Scourers, the deadly secret society, from Vermissa Valley has slipped through their fingers, likely aboard a steamer bound for America. The chase now spans an ocean, and the stakes are sky-high. In this chapter, we're sailing into uncharted waters, where Holmes' genius faces the vast unknown and the Scourers' long reach. The Valley of Fear is pulling us toward a showdown. So let's follow the trail across the sea. Holmes wastes no time back at Baker Street, piecing together the clues from the London chase. The ticket stub is for the SS Caledonia, a passenger ship headed to New York. He suspects Douglas, still using his Bertie Edwards alias, is trying to vanish into America's sprawling frontier, where the Scourers' influence might be weaker. Not absent, Holmes knows the secret society has agents in every major port, and a man like Tiger Baldwin won't give up easily. Watson, ever the loyal chronicler, packs a bag, ready to follow Holmes across the Atlantic. The detective's mind is already on the ship, imagining Douglas's next move in this deadly chess game. To think like Holmes. Try this at home. Pick a recent event, like a friend's sudden trip or a neighbor's odd behavior. List 3 clues maybe. A packed suitcase, a hurried phone call, or a new lock on their door. What story do those details tell? It's a simple way to practice deduction, just as Holmes does now. Analyzing the ticket stub's creases in ink to confirm it was recently torn, he deduces Douglas boarded the Caledonia in disguise, perhaps as a crewman or a low-profile passenger. The note from Porlac, "Bird flies at midnight," suggests Douglas had help, maybe from an ally still loyal to his Pinkerton days. Holmes and Watson book passage on the next ship to New York, a faster vessel that might overtake the Caledonia. Aboard, the sea is restless, mirroring the tension in Holmes' mind. He spends hours pacing the deck, questioning the crew about recent passengers from London. One steward recalls a quiet man with an American accent, traveling under the name Jack McMurdo, name Holmes recognizes from Vermissa Valley's dark past. McMurdo was Douglas' alias when he infiltrated the Scourers, and reusing it now as a bold, risky move. Holmes suspects Douglas is banking on the Scourers believing he's dead, but the presence of Baldwin at the docks means the secret society is closing in. In New York, Holmes and Watson hit the ground running, heading to the bustling docks where the Caledonia is due to arrive. The city is a maze of noise and motion, with immigrants, traders, and criminals mingling under smoky skies. Holmes taps his Pinkerton contacts, who confirm the Scourers have a foothold here, running rackets in the saloons and warehouses. A tip leads them to a boarding house near the waterfront, where a man matching Douglas's description was seen. They arrive to find the room empty, but a blood-stained handkerchief and a crumpled map of Pennsylvania's coal country lie on the table. The map is marked with a circle around Vermissa Valley, the Scourers' stronghold. Is Douglas planning to confront his past, or is this a trap? Holmes' instincts scream caution. He examines the handkerchief, noting the blood is fresh but not enough to suggest a fatal wound. The map's creases suggest it was studied recently, as if Douglas is plotting a final stand. Watson, anxious but resolute, suggests they head to Vermissa, but Holmes hesitates. The Scourers are watching, and walking into their territory could be suicide. Instead, he sends a coded message to a Pinkerton agent, hoping to draw Douglas out. As night falls, a shadowy figure watches them from across the street. A Scourer, perhaps, or an ally of Douglas. The game is getting deadlier by the hour as this chapter closes. Holmes and Watson are closer to Douglas but teetering on the edge of danger. The ticket stub and the map point to Vermissa Valley, where the Scour's power is strongest. Is Douglas planning to end this feud once and for all, or is he walking into a noose? In Chapter 9, we'll venture into the heart of Vermissa, where the truth about Douglas and the Scours will finally come to light. If you're gripped by this transatlantic chase, hit that like button and drop a comment. What do you think Douglas is planning? Subscribe to keep unraveling the secrets of the Valley of Fear with us. Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson stand at the edge of Vermissa Valley, the grim heart of the Scour's empire, where the air smells of coal, dust, and fear. The blood-stained handkerchief and crumpled map from New York have led them here, chasing John Douglas, the man who faked his death to escape a secret society's vengeance. Douglas, once the daring Pinkerton agent Bertie Edwards, is either planning a bold strike against his old enemies or walking into their trap. In this chapter, we're stepping into the lion's den, where Holmes' genius faces the Scour's raw power. The Valley of Fear is about to reveal its final secrets. So let's see how this deadly game ends. The train to Vermissa rattles through a bleak landscape of slag heaps and smokestacks. A far cry from London's foggy streets, Holmes, disguised as a traveling salesman, keeps his eyes sharp, noting every face in the crowded station. Watson, posing as his assistant, feels the weight of their mission. The Scours still rule Vermissa, their influence woven into every saloon and mine. Holmes suspects Douglas has returned to confront McGinty, the society's brutal leader, or to recover evidence hidden years ago. To practice your own deduction, try this. Next time you're in a public place, spot 3 details about someone's belongings, like a worn bag, a ticket stub, or a scuffed shoe. What do they reveal? It's how Holmes reads Vermissa, seeing danger in every glance. At a rundown tavern, Holmes overhears whispers of a stranger asking about McGinty. The description matches Douglas Stahl, broad-shouldered, with a scar on his cheek from his Pinkerton days. Holmes follows the trail to an abandoned mine, its entrance half hidden by vines. Inside, the air is damp and heavy, and faint footprints lead to a locked iron door. Holmes picks the lock with ease, revealing a cache of papers Douglas old Pinkerton reports, detailing the Scour's crimes. But there's no sign of Douglas himself. A faint noise echoes deeper in the mine, and Holmes signals Watson to stay quiet. Someone else is here. The mine's tunnels twist like a maze, and Holmes moves with cat-like precision, his lantern casting long shadows. They find Douglas, battered but alive, hiding behind a pile of crates. His face is grim, his hand clutching a revolver, he confesses to Holmes. He came to Vermissa to destroy the Scour's records, hoping to cripple their network. But McGinty's men ambushed him, and now he's trapped. The blood-stained handkerchief was his, left during a scuffle. Holmes, calm under pressure, devises a plan. He'll use the papers to lure McGinty out, setting a trap with the Pinkertons' help. Watson, ever steady, agrees to stand guard. The plan unfolds at dusk. Holmes leaks word that Jack McMurdo is alive, knowing it'll draw McGinty's enforcers, including Tiger Baldwin, to the mine. As expected, they arrive, armed and furious. But Holmes has alerted the Pinkertons, who sweep in, catching the Scour's off guard. Chaotic fight erupts, shots ring out, fists fly, and Douglas proves his mettle, disarming Baldwin himself. McGinty escapes in the chaos, but the Pinkertons seize the papers, enough to dismantle the Scour's empire. Douglas, exhausted, thanks Holmes, revealing he'd planned to flee to South Africa but couldn't let the Scours win. His staged death at Burlstone was a gamble that almost paid off until the society caught his trail. Holmes satisfied, but where he knows McGinty's escape means the danger isn't over. He urges Douglas to leave America immediately, arranging safe passage through his contacts. Watson, scribbling the final details, marvels at how Holmes turned a single cipher into a takedown of a criminal empire. The mine, once a symbol of Vermissa's darkness, now holds the key to its redemption. But as they board a train back to New York, Holmes' brow furrows. The Scour's reach is long, and McGinty's vengeance is certain. As this chapter closes, Vermissa Valley's secrets have been cracked open, but but the cost is high. Douglas is alive, the Scours are wounded, and Holmes has outwitted a deadly foe yet. McGinty remains a shadow on the horizon. In Chapter 10, we'll tie up the final threads of this mystery, revealing the fate of Douglas and the Scours. If this showdown has you on edge, hit that like button and drop a comment. What do you think McGinty will do next? Subscribe to see how the Valley of Fear ends. The dust of Vermissa Valley still clings to Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson as they board a train back to New York. John Douglas in tow, his face marked by the strain of a man who's stared down death. The Scours' empire's crumbling there. Secret records now in Pinkerton hands, but McGinty, the ruthless leader, has slipped away. A lingering threat in the shadows. The Valley of Fear has revealed its secrets, but the game isn't over. In this final chapter, we're tying up the threads of this gripping mystery. Following Douglas to his uncertain future and Holmes to his last deductions, let's see how. The curtain falls on this tale of deception and survival. In New York, Holmes arranges for Douglas to board a ship to South Africa, far from the Scours' reach. The docks are quieter now, the air crisp with the promise of a new start. Douglas, still using his Bertie Edwards alias, shakes Holmes' hand, his eyes heavy with gratitude and fear. He knows McGinty's escape means the danger may never fully fade. Watson, ever the heart of the duo, offers Douglas words of encouragement. While Holmes scans the crowd for any sign of trouble, a faint glint of metal catches his eye. A knife, tucked in a passerby's coat, says nothing, but his mind is already calculating the risks. To sharpen your own Holmes-like instincts, try this. Next time you're in a busy place, like a market or station, pick 3 subtle signs of tension: a clenched fist, a hurried glance, or a whispered conversation. What story do they tell? It's a simple way to practice seeing the world as Holmes does, always alert to hidden threats. Here he notices the passerby's knife matches a description from Vermissa Scours' weapon. He signals a Pinkerton agent nearby, ensuring Douglas boards safely. The ship's horn sounds, and Douglas vanishes into the horizon. A man reborn, but never truly free. Back at Baker Street, Holmes and Watson reflect on the case. The cipher from Porlock, the staged murder at Burlstone, the chase across London and New York, and the showdown in Vermissa Valleyades been a puzzle worthy of Holmes' genius. Watson's notes fill a notebook, ready to become another tale of the great detective. But Holmes is restless. He's received a new message, slipped. Under their door, a single line the Valley never forgets. It's unsigned, but the handwriting matches McGinty's bold scrawl. The Scours may be weakened, but their vendetta lives on. Holmes tosses the note into the fire, his face calm but resolute. The case has shown Holmes at his best turning. A jumble of numbers into a trail that spanned continents, saving a man from a secret society's wrath. Yet it's also a reminder of the cost of justice. Douglas's life is safe for now, but he'll always look over his shoulder. The Pinkertons are dismantling the Scours' network, using the seized records to arrest dozens. But McGinty's escape means the fight isn't over. Holmes tells Watson this case feels different, like a shadow that lingers. Suspects McGinty is linked to a larger criminal web, one he'll face again. For now, though, Burlstone's mystery is solved, and Douglas has a chance at peace. As the fire crackles in their Baker Street flat, Holmes lights his pipe, his mind already drifting to the next challenge. Watson, pen in hand, asks what makes this case stand out. Holmes smiles faintly, saying, "It's not the crime, Watson, but the courage to defy it." The Valley of Fear tested Douglas' bravery, Holmes' intellect, and Watson's loyalty, weaving a story of survival against impossible odds. For us, it's a reminder that even in the darkest corners, truth can shine through if you know where to look, and that's where our journey ends. But the adventure doesn't stop here. The Valley of Fear has shown us Sherlock Holmes at his sharpest, unraveling a web of lies that stretched from a quiet English manor to a lawless American valley. If this tale of deduction and danger has you hooked, hit that like button and share it with a friend. Drop a comment below. What was your favorite twist in this case? Did Douglas outsmart the Scours, or is McGinty still the one to watch? Subscribe. and ring that bell to join us for more Sherlock Holmes mysteries. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next adventure.